They don't know how he's going to do next year. I mean, you could say he's at the prime of his career.
I mean, there's no question his value goes down.
Right, yeah. And you don't know.
I'm not so sure about that, though. Because,
I would just because you don't get him for 2 stretch runs is why I would say that. But then there's the possibility of re-signing him if you trade him.
Yeah, and more teams could be in on him in the offseason than would be in on him now. So, that's what most people say. Ricciardi should have traded Holiday because his value drops. But I don't necessarily know if I believe that. And you're right, though. J.P. Ricciardi's job almost pretty in question here.
That Toronto team, if you go a few years back, was a very talented ball team. I mean, granted, they play in the toughest division in baseball, the AL East. So if you're not the Yankees, the Red Sox, or the Rays on a good year, you're probably not going to get very high in the division, unless it's the first 5 games of the year. So, again, J.P. Ricciardi might need to watch his back a little bit if somebody, convinces, the front, the
front office,
the owners to just give him the boot. J.P. Ricciardi may be kicking himself and saying, why didn't I trade Roy Halladay? Because although, Alex, it's true that in this offseason, because Ricciardi's probably going to be looking to deal him again, there may be more teams lining up, but there were plenty of good teams lining up at the door for Roy Halladay this trade deadline. But then when you realize, when the Phillies got Cliff Lee from the Indians, they didn't trade a single prospect that the Blue Jays wanted for Roy Halladay.
Right.
And they got, in my mind, a pitcher who's going to be just as successful, I think.
Cy Young last year. I think he had a great start.
23 wins.
Right.
23-2 last year.
So, I mean, that's a good move by them. But some teams just got to be aggressive, like you mentioned. I think that's a good point. And I guess the Yankees, they're aggressive. Other teams, like the Blue Jays, I guess, not so much. So, all right.
They're more aggressive sellers, like the Indians and the Pirates.
Right, yeah. I mean...
Pirates traded everybody.
Pirates, I don't even know who they are.
Have you seen the team they could field since 2003 with all the guys they traded? Bae, McCloughan, Nady in the outfield.
Wes Sanchez.
And then Aramis Ramirez, Jack Wilson, Freddie Sanchez, and Adam LaRoche around the infield. Ian Snell and Mike Gonzalez, starter and a reliever, plus Jason Kendall.
The Pirates have been rebuilding for like the last 5 years. I don't know where they're going
Neil
with
Huntington,
that.
I give him credit. He took a tough job, and he's in the process, but, he's had to break it to the fan base year in and year out that the Pirates really aren't going anywhere for the next couple of years once they get that young talent. Garrett Jones swinging a nice bat, though.
All right, I think there's one more trade that's kind of big. Scott Rowland.
Went to the Reds.
Right, the Reds. Do you think the Reds, not really.
That's strange to me.
It's kind of random.
Why the Reds got Scott Rowland. I mean, he signed for the next couple of years, I believe.
They gave Edwin Encarnacion. But
I thought that was a strange deal for the Reds too. I mean, I guess that was a deal for the future because he signed for a couple more years. And also the NL Central, while we're on that, Matt Holliday of the Cardinals really hitting well behind Albert Pujols in that lineup. That's also a big difference maker trade.
Oh, no question. I mean, you said that the Phillies with Cliff Lee now pushes them into the elite ranks. I already thought the Cardinals were up there, but they guarantee a spot with Matt Holliday hitting behind Albert Pujols because now you can have Pujols, Holiday, Ludwig, and then you have the best defensive catcher in baseball in my mind, Yadier Molina.
Yadi.
Yeah, I mean he's done a phenomenal job, and Adam Wainwright, lo and behold, is looking for his 13th win. So I mean that pitching staff also has a nice front three with Carpenter, Wainwright, and Pinheiro, and also Kyle Loesch pitching well.
All right, that'll do it for tonight's show. Remember, you can tune in 7 through 8, Monday through Friday. YSA Back Talk, and for Andrew Ramsey and Alex Reamer, I'm Nirmal Devarajan. Have a good night.